Sure. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's Jessica and Angel here from DataCorps Technology Solutions, and we're here for Ask DataCorps Live Monday. We're back Mondays at 2. I know that you missed us.
Yeah, last week.
We changed it up.
Yeah, we had what we call a minor technical difficulty.
We had a life situation. Things happen.
Yeah. We're an IT company, right? And so we do things. And we had a call scheduled for our firewall.
Mm-hmm.
And so
ironic, since we were talking about how critically important they are.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that happened. So we ended up taking internet down while we were getting ready to broadcast.
But it's because our clients are more important than our Facebook.
Absolutely. So
right?
we had to get that firewall up and going, and we had that time window already there. So we made the best of it, took care of it, and broadcast on Tuesday. So the video is on our Facebook page if you want to go watch it.
And our YouTube page, which
Absolutely.
is a hidden gem of our social media stash there.
Right. But Facebook doesn't like YouTube, so we don't talk about YouTube on Facebook.
We don't say that while
they're listening.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Actually, Facebook knows a lot.
Yeah, they do.
So you guys, what are we talking about today?
So we're going to talk about choosing software for your business.
Cool. So that is actually a question that you've been getting from some of our clients about that they wanted addressed here, because every industry is different and every business is different, and everybody needs Microsoft Office and the basic stuff, but when we start talking about the industry specific stuff that makes your business tick, sometimes there are options and you need to know which one is the best one that's going to help you run your business most efficiently.
Absolutely. There's so many options out there, and sometimes one piece of software that's specialized for one industry can actually be adapted to capture another industry. For example, service industries like mine, like ours, IT services, can sometimes use simple ticketing software that might be appropriate for a home AC company, plumbing company, those types of companies.
Okay.
So the software can cut across many realms, even though it's not necessarily marketed for that. But what that can do is that it can also give you a lot of value by not having to write your own software. Software projects are generally very complex in nature, and they can be very costly. So you end up with a really great product that fits you like a glove, but it is very costly. So a lot of times what we like to do is start off with, what's in the box? What can we buy out of a box? And then maybe what can we tweak about it? So that's generally a good strategy. But even then, there are just tons and tons of considerations to take into account.
Okay, so what's the first thing that you need to look at, the most basic consideration for a good, solid business software?
I think the first most basic consideration should be what makes you money. Okay. And we used
that's a life philosophy.
Exactly.
Not just a software one.
We used that philosophy when we were actually implementing our main software package.
Okay.
So we asked ourselves, what makes us money? And basically it came down to two things: the ability to build a billing agreement that bills our clients monthly, and then the ability to turn time into money, meaning our service tickets that needed to be billable that weren't covered in service contracts. We needed to have the ability to go ahead and turn that time that was in a ticket into an invoice.
Okay.
That's what I mean when I say turning time into money. And so for us, those were the most critical things. So we were looking for software that could do both of those things very well.
Okay. Do you have a case study, someone that we've walked through this process recently that you can talk about what we did to help them out?
Absolutely. So we have a client that we walked through the process, and something that was very important to them that's critical was the ticketing part, but also they have warehouses. And not just one warehouse, but each one of their trucks is a warehouse too. And so we were looking through many different pieces of software, and what we found were that the really popular pieces of software couldn't handle the concept of a truck being a warehouse, and you couldn't transfer from one warehouse to another. So that was a deal breaker for that particular client. So we went looking, and they actually found a piece of software And so they sent it over to me to look at it and review it. And a lot of the accounting pieces that were absolutely critical for this client were in there. So what you'll find a lot of times is that the basics, the big stuff that everybody needs works really well in a lot of packages, but then you get really, really specialized. And then you get down into what's specific for your business. This particular client does a lot of construction work as well.
Okay.
So they might not fit the normal service model where the ticketing was fine. They also needed a way to bill that construction work with a specific form. So, that was an absolute requirement because they do so much of it that it's a time suck to have to go and generate that form manually.
Right.
And it could be prone to errors. So again, we just made that list of what's really important. And then we found software that fits them like a glove. And now we're working on getting all the server requirements, getting all the workstation requirements met, and all the other stuff that goes along to making sure that a software rollout goes on successfully.
All right.
Because that's where it can break too.
Right.
You get brand new software, everybody's happy, but nobody paid attention to the desktops, nobody paid attention to the server. They just threw it on what was there, and then the software runs like garbage.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's in my universe, backing it down to more of a casual user than a business user. I use Photoshop a lot. Mm-hmm. And I know that for a long time now, this is years ago now, my computer's come a long way since that, but for a long time I was running a laptop because I needed to be mobile and I needed Photoshop, but I knew that full Photoshop was not going to fit on my laptop. So I ran Adobe Elements for a long time because that's all that would fit on my equipment.
Absolutely.
So you need to determine what's more important. Is there a lower level of software that I can use with the equipment that I've got? Or do I absolutely need this top level software and I need to adjust my equipment to meet that need?
Not only that, but companies nowadays and a lot of business owners are realizing that even seconds matter. Mm. And so investing a little bit of more money in getting maybe some performance pieces. So we always tell people, avoid going to Best Buy to get your computers. If you can pull it from a shelf, it's probably not worth it. We choose high-end performance parts. In many cases, we'll try to use solid-state hard drives, the ones that are memory-based rather than metal, because they just respond faster. We're looking for those seconds that are really going to make a big difference. And when you think about it, you call a service provider. If you're on hold waiting on them to wait for their software to come up, mm-hmm. Those 10 seconds do seem like an eternity.
It does. Well, just look at where we are and as far as just basic use of the internet. Back in the day, it used to be acceptable to sit in your room and listen to the screeches and beep boops while it connected to dial-up internet. And that was acceptable and you were okay.
Absolutely.
Because that was the norm. But now you click on that button for your internet browser, and if it doesn't pop up instantly, you're out of your, what is going on? Why is it broken?
Exactly. And you're calling us.
And you don't, right. And you don't want your customers to have that experience when they're dealing with you. Oh, what is going on? How often have you been on a customer service call where the person on the other end is like, oh, I'm sorry, the system is so slow today. Nothing, that doesn't speak to professionalism.
Exactly.
Towards your clients, right?
Exactly.
So seconds matter, you're right.
So that's what we're doing when we're looking at software. Also, that's a big consideration too, because cloud is so popular these days. Mm-hmm. But I like to say the internet has weather. Okay.
Yeah.
And an outage in Georgia could absolutely affect your access to a cloud application. So what I've seen that's been interesting and fascinating for me is that increasingly we're getting clients and we're getting prospects that are asking us to pull them out of the cloud, which is interesting. So a lot of times when our competitors or somebody else will go in and assess a situation, they fail to assess the performance of the application in the cloud. So they think it's great to put a client fully in the cloud and put their desktop in the cloud, but they don't realize or they don't take the time to understand how that client makes money. Mm-hmm. And the client may just be looking at the cost savings. Right. It may not be looking at, possibility of an outage or whatnot. So again, having their own servers is becoming very increasingly important to a lot of our clients because they want to have more control over that. They like to know that there's hardware there backing them up. Right. There's ways that we can mitigate a lot of risk, and they're isolated from cloud outages, which, really ultimately any cloud provider that makes you a promise that they're up 100% of the time, they can't fulfill it.
No.
I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon is the quintessential cloud provider, and their S3 service had an outage that lasted 6+ hours, which was devastating to a lot of businesses.
I bet.
A lot of people that use the same software we use, they were down because the software runs on Amazon's cloud, but ours was running because it runs on our servers.
Right.
So.
Well, yeah. I mean, what about, we've been talking so far about businesses that have sort of warehouse and billing by hours for. What about a business that needs card swipe, that bills through? Oh goodness, direct.
Yeah, credit cards.
Yeah.
Well, you can't really get away from the cloud and those types of things there. But here's something to think about: if your point of sale system integrates so tightly with your software that that payment is being recorded instantly. First off, that's less error on the part of your employees because they're not having to key in the transaction from, say, a swiper machine over to your software. Secondly, they're not having to key in that credit card number. So a lot of card swipers are now encrypted, and that encryption takes a lot of the PCI liability off of your folks.
What's PCI liability?
PCI, Payment Card Industry Compliance.
Okay.
And those are the rules that dictate how merchants are to handle credit card information.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, integration with credit cards. Also, we have companies that have techs on the field, and being able to take a payment on a phone.
Yeah.
That's huge because you really, this day and age, you want to avoid people handling cash or handling checks. I know some people still want to pay with cash and check, but guess what? If you're running a service company like a plumbing company, and you've got a guy out on the field that's taking cash. He may take in enough cash in that day to decide he wants to give himself a vacation and not come back. Yeah,
that's a hugely increased liability, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So, having that credit card there, having it integrated into your payment system and having that monitored lets you keep track of what's going on, lets you keep track of your employees in real time, and, again, have that greater level of accountability in place.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. So if you're going to boil down a checklist of this is what I need to look at, regardless of what my industry is, for how to pick the best software to make my company run. We start with, what do I do to make money? And we break that down. What comes next?
So how do I collect money?
Okay.
How do I track inventory if that's applicable to me? An attorney's office, their inventory is time. So, so that's very important. Time. How do I track the time? How do I track productivity? What kind of reporting am I going to get out of it? Does it integrate with my accounting package? Is that even important to me? For some people, they don't need that, but for others, it's absolutely critical. What kind of reporting is available from it? How do I know if I'm profitable? How do I monitor the progress in my business, the performance of my business? So again, those are all questions that we want to ask and we want to check down when selecting software. And also when it's being demoed, we want to ask those questions. We want to see every one of those places. And then the other part that a lot of people don't really think about, why do you have a fitting room at a store?
Okay.
How does it fit? How does it feel? How does it operate? Was it designed by software people or was it designed by somebody in your industry? Our software program, there's two big schools or two big companies that make our software for my industry. One of them was developed by an IT company. The other one was developed by software developers.
Okay.
So the one developed by the IT company actually ended up fitting a little bit more like a glove than the one developed by software developers, because that one, it was designed with the technician in mind, since the technician integrates or interacts with it the most out of the whole company. So we want a technician to be very efficient, to have screens that pop up quickly and refresh quickly. The one was 100% cloud-based. The other one had cloud and on-premise options. On-premise is the term that we use when the server's on site.
Okay.
And so, we chose to have the server on site, again, to get that performance and to isolate ourselves from cloud issues.
So the thing that I heard you say, which I think is valuable, is it's completely reasonable expectation to be able to demo a software or trial a software, use a software for a time before you make that long-term commitment.
Absolutely. However, some vendors are not going to allow that. based on a lot of implementation steps that have to be taken to integrate it. Sometimes that may not be reasonable, but one thing I learned from my attorney is that all clauses on a contract are negotiable. So whenever those things come up, you can negotiate something. Perhaps they're willing to give you an extended demonstration of the software via webinar so you can see how it fits. Don't make the decision on your own as well. Pull in people from your team. They're going to have to live with this software. They're the ones that are going to have to interact with it. You know, as the business owner, you may not interact with it much.
Right.
So they're the ones that are going to interact with it a lot. Pull them in, bring them in, ask them what they think about it, ask them what they don't like about it. Make sure that they know what, you know, have a list from them of if you had the perfect software, what would it look like? And then another thing that a lot of people don't really think about a lot is, does it have an API? An API is called an Application Programming Interface.
Okay.
It is like a plug that you can plug into it and interact with the software from another software. So for example, if you want to write add-ons. Let's say your software doesn't have a customer portal, but you want to have one. So you can hire somebody and then interface directly with the software, so it's getting live data from the software.
Cool.
So important if you want to have the software integrate with other things like GPS tracking, you know, your bank account. I mean, just tons
something simple
of other
like
things.
QuickBooks.
Something simple like QuickBooks. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that makes sense. So make sure that when you're picking a software, you know what you have, what your server's equipment is, you know what you need. What do I need to make money? What is the money? Is it managing my inventory? Is it interacting with customers, managing time and productivity? What is the thing that's going to make you money? And that's the thing that you need to go out and look for. And if you find all this overwhelming, who do you call?
Call me. What's cool is when I go in and talk to software vendors, they're expecting me to ask about hard drives and processors and all of that. But you know, my background's in business, education's in business questions. A lot of the questions that are typically asked of them are going to be very technical in nature, and all that stuff's important, but matter a hill of beans if the software is not going to accomplish the business objectives.
Right.
So call me. I'm unique. Call a business consultant, maybe somebody that is capable. Because choosing software is not as much a technology issue as it is a business issue. And also the other thing that, there's so many other things.
I'm sure.
The other thing you want to think about is, do you have broken processes? Because if you have broken business processes, all software is going to do is break them even further.
One last thing that you mentioned, because you mentioned your attorney. If you're in an industry where a particular specialized type of legal compliance is necessary within your software, we've been talking here in the office a lot about how to help people with HIPAA compliance. There are running into clients and prospective clients who've dealt with other IT companies in the past who've said, yes, this is our solution for your legal compliance. It's all right here. We'll take care of it for you. And we've had to come back in and clean up aftermath. After that, one-size-fits-all situation doesn't work out. So the main thing is you want a company who's going to be honest enough with you to say, you need legal counsel, and we're going to use legal counsel to help us make these decisions, to help you make these decisions that are going to best protect your business.
Absolutely. I take business seriously. You know, this is how I feed my family. This is how every one of my employees, you know, feeds their family. So I owe it to my client as possible. And sometimes I'm not the right person to talk to about a particular problem. So we bring out outside help to solve that problem. And in many cases, especially when it comes to regulatory compliance, you want to have an attorney who can handle that regulation properly. And then we come in behind them and fill in the gaps or requirements. Exactly.
Right.
They'll develop the requirements along with the business, and then we follow the requirements to provide the necessary hardware and software to do it.
Right.
So again, about the decisions you make when it comes to software in your business. what implications they may have. And, don't be afraid of calling an attorney if you have regulatory issues. They're there to help.
Yeah.
I know that you could probably fill many, many hours of with attorney jokes, but at the end of the day, they really are there to help. They're fantastic, and they're there to make sure that your business is protected, and so are we. So
absolutely,
that's something that we're very committed to. Because when our clients do well, we do very well. So
absolutely.
So we love to cheer our clients on and help them grow.
We just sent out some congratulatory letter too this week, and I love doing that. I love doing that for our clients because we are here to help you succeed in your business. Absolutely,
yeah. We got 3 clients that each of them are looking to hire. They're growing, and they were posting on their social media that they're hiring, and so we wanted to send a big congratulations to them.
Yeah.
So that makes our day. We love doing that. So thank you very much for the business from you guys and.
All right. Thank you so much.
See ya.